Rocking with your boy, TheCzarr, all rights reserved. Now, I have a quick thing I want to ask. Who is taking trips to Universal Studios? Yes, there is an individual who has allegedly made a trip to Universal Studios following a certain excerpt in a conversation. Now, here's what I want to understand. Here's what I need to understand. Number one, what do you guys have to do with this quote-unquote porn industry? Now, if I'm wrong, tell me, guys, does Universal deal in the business that is related to pornography? Are they involved in this business? What would this trip have been about? Well, let's ask ourselves, what were we conversating about? Was it possible that the same individual took a trip to go see a certain someone that I mentioned within this series? Because here's what you don't understand. We have a special audience. It could be as small as you're saying, it could be as large. We have a special audience. It is not who you think it is either. Understand that much. Now, I'm trying to figure out what they had to do with this studio. I'm trying to figure out who they knew, why they were there, and what association was it? Could it have been because of the upcoming tour? Which I applaud you all for getting back on the road, doing a tour, keeping the music moving. Why is this person the manager, though? That's what I don't get. Listen, when you think of a manager or management, it's someone with connections, someone that's able to do something. Who's the connection to this industry? And where does this industry go? Now, you've seen that I said I'm going to start talking about, as voted on in community, the porn industry. Yes, I told you I'm going to start talking about that. Because whether you believe it or not, I know a ton about this industry. A ton. More than you would think. I'm the type of guy that was reading different stories dealing with these stars, looking into different people you never would have thought at any given time with this particular industry, whether you want to believe it or not. Yes, I'm well endowed on the knowledge dealing with it. But anyways, what is going on? Why am I starting to see others with connection in the industry? And was there someone else responsible for putting Tentacion in the industry? Was there someone else who gave him his start and encouraged it other than him himself that introduced him to people? And would we consider this person the point of interest? You get what I'm saying? There's a difference. We've seen persons of interest. We've seen evidence in interest. We've seen interesting things. Who's the point of interest into his entry into these different opportunities to be an artist with a label versus him doing his independent thing? And was this brought in to him an opportunity to be affiliated with this particular company? Had this ever happened? Was this ever something in question? Now, commenter that presented this thought and wanted this to be conversated on, you could put in comments who exactly you believe to have taken a trip there off of their social media page showing so. Again, we are able to conversate about things you saw on social media. That's what I'm saying. Whether you pull it down or not, anything you've ever posted can be pulled up again. That is what you should understand. Bottom line. Anything you've ever posted can be researched and pulled up again. Did you know that? I don't know if you did. But that's what I'm saying. Who's taking a trip there? Now let's look at the affiliates and affiliations dealing not only around the situation, but around the potential reasoning for this person's trip there. Why? Because if I presume that you're not a musician, I've never heard music. If someone has music, commenter, if they have music posted down there, then what was the reasoning? Who's funding it? Now, I presume that there will be a deal coming from particular studios for your boy, TheCzarr, all rights reserved. Yes, I do. But understand, I'm objective and I'm not biased. That I'm influential in the perfect ways of not the, let's say, heathen type mindset that is boasted about in the game as we see it. No, I'm a different animal. I am a different animal. A well-conscious and well-scripted to myself in my way type of animal. I am not like these other people. So I'm going to ask questions when needed, and I'm going to say nothing when needed. And in this particular instance, this conversation was null and void to me until I seen a certain subject get mentioned here. Then I seen the actions of others. See, here's what the problem is. People act once they see things occurring around the scenario, but they don't act preemptively to a situation to build an understanding or to cloak themselves properly in any way, shape, and fashion. Not that a studio would need to, but a person may. You see, it can be said that a person had an agenda to do this and that and this, unless they took particular methods to empower some type of movement to build around their own brand. We would not have seen this. But we did not see it. We seen a standout star who we seen wind up in a situation, and then funny acting people in association, and then people who acted legit and mindful in the situation. So whether or not you think that they're guilty of something is irrelevant if I do not see the certain behaviors added. But when I see the behaviors that are funny style, that's when the wheels start to turn. You see, there's a certain way to examine evidence, examine a situation, and examine it. Behavior's everything. Whether or not I've shown certain behaviors on purpose to my audience for a particular reason. Do you get that? If you're still with me, let me know. Hit hashtag commenters rule down below, because we do. You do. We rule. The ones who make the comments, you govern YouTube. Your comments and your interaction drive YouTube. Hit the like button if you know what I'm saying. Hit that like button. What would have been the reason for someone to slide over to Universal Studios for any particular reason when I do not know them to be in any industry but music, maybe even cinema? And it wasn't an actor or an actress that we seen take this trip. So what would this have been for? If you're not making music, you're not an actor or an actress, what would have been the reason for you to show up there? What is the reasoning? Because I'm being told something else that we're going to get into that had to do with ideologies, with some type of label that was told no by a certain individual. And we'll talk more about that. But here's my thing. And I said it to the person behind the scenes that I have a very, let's say super very, because that's the only way I can say it, super very strong idea of who you may actually be. You can repost and you won't do it and send what Czar said to you, but didn't I tell you watch actions and not words? I told you that. I told you. I gave you a hint of how it is that I've even done everything I've been doing with this, and that I'm going to do with a lot of other things as voted on by my audience. You will see it. You guys will be acclimated into this way of thinking. As I work hard and invest in mentalities and growing myself as an entrepreneur, because that is the best way. I hint at you with the ads you see. These are entrepreneurs. Learn about the entrepreneurship mind and work your life as an entrepreneur. You don't know what it means? Look it up. Work your life as an entrepreneur, but grow your mind as an entrepreneur. You see, I not only teach, I not only inspire, I not only investigate, I not only give strong opinion that is backed by truth and majority of my situations that aren't objective. But I've grown past barriers that have been used to block me, whether it was by race, whether it was by presence. That is what you see before you. An evolved human being that is continually evolving daily, as well as my audience. But you know how I rock. All rights reserved.